What is up? I'm Sergeant Ballistic, but you guys can call me Brian. Thank you for checking out this video. Today I wanted to talk about something hot off the news press, or rather rumor mill, and that is talk about the new PS4.5 or PS4K or PS4 upgradable, whatever you might think it's going to be. There's a lot of news going around about this thing and a lot of takes on what this could mean for the console industry and the gaming industry in general. I think it was BioWare co-founder Greg Zeschuk, who said that it kind of flies in the face of the whole purpose of consoles and it's not a good idea. Other people are really in favor of it, so let's get into it. So today, Austin Walker from Giant Bomb dropped an article talking about the new PS4 upgrade that everybody's thinking will be announced at E3 this year. And he announced that it has a code name called Neo and a lot of information about it, new information in terms of specs and the performance and how the whole system will work. Now take this with a grain of salt, a huge grain of salt. This could be anything from like disinformation or just this guy trying to get the scoop on people and reading too far into things. But he says he has a lot of corroborating information and his sources are good. So in his article, Austin noted that no official price has been released for this PS4 Neo, but it's estimated to come in at $399. We've seen some price cuts on the PS4 and Xbox, which kind of makes this make sense. He outlines the major hardware differences that we're going to see in this, taking a look at that on screen right now. For the CPU, the original PS4 has an 8-core clocked at 1.6 gigahertz. The Neo will have an 8-core at 2.1 gigahertz. That's about a 30% increase in clock speed, which doesn't really translate directly into, kind of fidelity and performance. For the GPU, the original PS4 has an older version of the AMD GCN, or Graphics Core's Next architecture. That's utilizing 18 CUs running at 800 megahertz. The Neo will have a new version of the AMD GCN with 36 compute units running at 911 megahertz. So that's about a 13 or 14% increase in the frequency, but it's kind of hard to extrapolate what double the compute units will mean in terms of performance and overall visual fidelity. As for the memory, the original PS4 had 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 VRAM with 176 gigabyte per second bandwidth. The Neo will have that same 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 running at 218 gigabytes per second. So that's about a 24% increase there. And to put that in perspective, the GTX 970, which is the most popular graphics card on Steam right now, only has 3.5 or 4, depending on how you look at it, gigabytes of the same GDDR5 RAM with a 224 gigabyte per second bandwidth. Austin notes in his article that the hard drive doesn't seem to be getting any love here. There's no upgrades to that, leading us to believe that they'll be the same, either 500 gigabyte or 1 terabyte hard drive that comes in the classic or older version of the PS4. So one big question on a lot of people's mind is how the hell is this going to work? Is this going to be some kind of an add-on device like we originally saw? And it looks like it's not going to be that way. This is going to be a completely separate version of the PS4 that you will have to either, sell your old PS4 and buy, or if we're looking to buy a PS4, you can just go straight to that one. So apparently starting in October, all PS4 titles will be required to be developed having 2 modes. One is a base mode to go along with the original PS4, and the other is the Neo mode, of course, to take advantage of the new upgraded hardware. He noted that October date doesn't necessarily mean that we will see a Q4 or Q3 release, but it probably would make sense considering that we were looking to see the PSVR coming out around the holiday time. So what will you be seeing if you do choose to upgrade to the PlayStation 4 Neo? You're going to see some higher visual fidelity in terms of the graphics and the games. That's going to come with possibly higher and more stable frame rates at 1080p. There's apparently no requirement that developers develop their games for 4K, but the console will be able to upscale for 4K TVs. It will have a 4K output, which is nice if you have a 4K TV and you like to watch 4K content on it. Hopefully that will mean you'll be able to also stream 4K from Netflix and YouTube and any other sources. While Sony does apparently document some suggestions to help developers achieve 4K resolution for their games, it's not required again, and they state that in no way, shape, or form should frame rate be sacrificed in order to achieve 4K. It has to meet at least the same frame rate as the non-Neo version and possibly even higher. So what about games released kind of before that October cutoff? Austin notes in the articles that developers will be able to patch in Neo support if they choose to, which makes me wonder if games like the upcoming Uncharted 4, the last in the series, will have Neo support out of the box, or if they're going to patch that in, and just how that's going to be perceived by developers in general. So what would this mean for the PS4 player base? Is this going to cause more fragmentation than we've already been seeing with consoles and even on PC, with certain gamers not being able to play with other gamers depending on whether or not they have the same DLCs downloaded? Hopefully not. Apparently Sony's taking some steps to ensure that the player bases stay together. The new Neo will use the exact same PSN store, have the same online services and same overall UI. All previous purchases and games will work on the Neo. Austin notes in the article that apparently Sony made it clear that there will be no Neo exclusive games, no split in the multiplayer. Players will be able to play together. There will be no exclusive content in any way, shape, or form for the Neo, but content that does exist on both can be kind of better fidelity and have a better experience in a way. So kind of like not separate but not equal. I don't really know how that's going to work. It should be interesting. You notice that they should also keep parity in terms of peripheral support. This is very interesting with the PSVR coming out this year. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not the new version or the upgraded version of the PS4, the Neo, will require the same breakout box that the traditional or original version of the PS4 does in order to work with the VR. Nothing in here about that so far, so kind of wondering about that myself. I was able to try the PSVR presumably with the original PS4 hardware at GDC, and it was noticeably behind in terms of visual fidelity compared to the two other headsets. But it is worth noting that most of the other demos that I've seen at CES and GDC and anywhere have been running at least a GTX 980 Ti, sometimes dual 980 Ti's, and a lot of times they were running off of a Titan. So you're talking about a $400 console versus a $600 to $1,000 just GPU, wherein you didn't have to have a whole system behind it, which also has some minimum requirements. So many questions cropping up in my head right now. Will we see this new hardware unveiled at E3 this June? It seems pretty likely. I'm hoping to go to E3 and maybe they'll have some demos there. Maybe we'll be able to check it out. Be cool if we could do a comparison of what PSVR looks like on the old console versus the new Neo version. Will it even still be called the PS4 Neo at launch or when they unveil it? Will this make games easier or harder to develop? That was a huge thing that plagued the PS3. It had this awesome but very complicated architecture that made it hard for developers to leverage the full capabilities of the hardware. Will this make downloads even larger? Will probably require larger textures and a whole bunch of assets. So what does that mean for people who don't have the Neo? Are they going to have to download the same package and patches that the people who have the Neo have? For that matter, how will PS4 owners and prospective owners perceive this in general? Will they be excited at having the choice of, having upgraded hardware and possibly more, visual fidelity, kind of like with the PC? You can choose to buy more expensive components and get a better gaming experience, or will they be kind of pissed if they've already bought a original PS4 and now they're gonna have to try to sell it and lose money and buy another console? It's gonna be very interesting to see how that plays out. For the last several generations of consoles, we've seen a trend of game developers and game studios developing for console first and then porting the games to PC. We've seen a lot of PC gamers getting pissed off, stating that consoles with their lower level hardware are kind of holding the gaming industry back because a lot of times you're not able to get the full capabilities that you might be able to on PC because the game was developed first on console. Will we see that flip-flop? Does having to develop for two different versions of the PS4 mean that developers will have to spend more time developing on a console and thus have less time to develop for PC and or port it over, resulting in worse ports? All sorts of kind of things can result from this. Microsoft is also apparently going to be having some type of new hardware unveiled at E3. Will it just be a slim like most reports are showing right now, or will it possibly be an upgraded version of the Xbox One, or possibly both? We'll see. I think Phil Spencer has been very outspoken about the fact that he doesn't plan on having kind of an Xbox 1.5 or anything like that. So We'll have to see. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I really love to see what you guys think about this, whether you're a PC gamer, a console gamer, Xbox One, PS4, whatever. Let me know what you think. I certainly don't know what it means for the console industry or the gaming industry in general. I think it will mix things up, quite a bit. And coming from the standpoint of a computer engineer and a bit of a technophile, I think it's awesome that we're seeing, more development and, a little bit of a breakup in the typical console life cycle. Again, I don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worse, but I'm excited to see some new things happening in the gaming industry. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of this kind of different new format. I haven't really done it before. Kind of just trying to provide my insights and see what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I've got some links to my social media and my Amazon affiliate link in the description. Check those guys out if you choose to. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.